Have you ever been too embarrassed to ask a plumber what he means when he's telling you something? Listen, there's no shame in not knowing the difference between a shutoff valve and a supply line, but there is power in learning it. Today I'm going to go over the very basics of a home plumbing system so that you can feel more comfortable about what's going on in your own home. I'm not going to bore you with a bunch of jargon and acronyms and technical terms. I'm going to explain it clear and simple, just like I would to my own family. Welcome back to What's Up, Opa. Today I'm going to go over the basics of a plumbing system in a typical residential home in the United States. The home I'm going to be going through is less than 5 years old, so it may look different than yours, but not much has changed in plumbing in the last 50 years. So sit back and enjoy these next few minutes, and you'll come away feeling a little more confident about what's going on in your home. Hey, and I almost forgot, stick around to the end and I'll show you some footage of me dealing with some young guy that came out to work on my garbage disposal. So we'll start talking about plumbing outside the house where the water first comes in. In this particular house, we're connected to a city water system, so the water lines are under the street out in front of the house. And the line runs under our yard up to this little white plastic cap underneath that. If you took this lid off, down below there'd be a special little shutoff valve. This is what the city uses to completely isolate water from your house. And then from here then it goes underneath the foundation wall and it'll come up into the crawl space. All right, so I'm down in our crawl space of our house now, and I'm going to show you a little bit of what the plumbing looks like down here. This large copper line coming up out of the ground is the water line, the main line coming in from outside the house, from the outside shutoff valve that we talked about. And it goes along, goes up here, and then it pokes up through the floor. And in a minute I'll show you where this connects. Next it goes to the shutoff valve that's inside the house. So in my house, the water meter is in a closet on the inside of the house. So this part right there is the water meter, but the main shutoff valve to the house is this one right here. You can close this and that'll shut the water off. My wife's in the shower, so she's probably going to be squawking. And then I've got two lines going out with their own shutoffs, one for the irrigation system and one for the house itself. So after the water meters and the shutoff valve, the plumbing ducts back under the floor down into the crawl space, and here are the two lines. One of them is the line feeding the house, the other one goes directly outside to our lawn irrigation system. The cold water line that we saw in the crawl space now is going to split. Part of it is going to come up here and feed into the hot water heater. This is the cold water line coming in. This tiny little line here goes to the humidifier on the furnace. And then coming out the other side is the hot water. So from this point now we have both hot water and cold water lines running through the house underneath in the crawl space. This water heater is an electric one. You can tell by there's an electrical box feeding it. If you have a gas hot water heater, you'll have a gas valve and a gas line coming in down here at the bottom. A couple of things on here. There's a pressure relief valve. So if something goes wrong and this thing overpressurizes, it'll vent the water out through that copper line down into this catch pan on the bottom. And then at the bottom of a hot water tank, there's a little valve that you can use to flush your hot water tank out. Not going to cover any of that right now. But so that's a basic hot water tank. So in my house and most newer construction, you don't see copper pipe like they used to. They now use this plastic pipe. It's called PEX, P-E-X. In my house, it's all white, but a lot of times you'll see it in red and blue. So to differentiate hot and cold, but it works exactly the same. Looking a little more at the drain lines here, this big thick line comes from a toilet. This smaller line comes from a sink in that bathroom. And back behind there you can see another smaller line. It's got a little trap in it. That's going to the bathtub in that bathroom. And again, everything drains, running downhill, ends up going down into the ground and out to the municipal sewer system. These little U-shaped parts are called traps. What they are, they're shaped like this so water will remain in that lower part of that curve, and what it'll do is that it'll block off the sewer gases, the smelly parts, from drifting up through your drain up into your bathroom or your bathtub and getting stinky in the house. So you'll see these traps down here in the main drain lines, but we'll also find the same thing underneath the sinks, and we'll show those in a minute. Okay, so here's a typical bathroom sink. You can see underneath there are the two supply lines coming in with a shutoff valve. Those lines go up to the water faucet, the fixture. If the faucet was going to get replaced, you could turn these two valves off and then be able to replace the fixture. Coming out of the bottom of the sink, here's the drain line and the trap again, and then this goes into the wall and then goes down into the crawl space as part of the drain system then. Still in the bathroom, here's a typical toilet, and there's a supply line, cold water this time, not hot and cold, and it's got its own little shutoff valve once again. And that little braided copper line goes up into the tank of the toilet to fill the tank. And then the drain of the toilet obviously goes through the floor down into the drain system under the house. So here we're looking underneath our kitchen sink. And there's the garbage disposal. And you can see it's kind of hard to see, but there's two drain lines coming out of the two bowls of the sink. The dishwasher drain line is that little gray corrugated line, comes in the back of this cabinet from the dishwasher right next door to it, and then that goes in just to the top of the garbage disposal, just because it's a convenient place to attach. So when the dishwasher drains, it pumps it into there, goes through the white plastic drain coming out of the garbage disposal, through the trap, down through the floor into the wastewater system. If you are not connected to city water, more than likely what you'll have is a local well and a pressure tank. And I don't have pictures to show you this right now, but basically how that works is you have a pressure tank. It's got a pressure switch on it. The pressure in that tank drops below a certain point. It turns on the well pumps water up into the tank, and the pressure switch will turn off when the tank reaches a certain pressure. Coming out of that is where you'd have your main shutoff valve. Beyond that shutoff valve, everything is the same. The only other thing that would be different is at the very tail end of it, when you have the wastewater coming out of the house, instead of going to the city sewer system, it'll go out of your house into some kind of a septic system, a retention tank, a leach field, something like that. But an important part of the drain system is vent lines. And what this is, think of it as if you have a straw and you hold the finger over the end of it, the water won't run out. Vent line is essentially the same thing. they come together and they end up poking out through the roof of your house. And what that allows is air to enter the drain system so that the water will flow out and not get trapped by a vacuum as it tries to go out the drain. So one last thing I wanted to show you, and it kind of illustrates my point of when you know a little bit about your plumbing, it's a lot easier to talk to a plumber and be able to ask questions and kind of get a sense of if he even knows for sure what he's talking about. So I just wanted to show you this little video clip I got of some young buck came out to work on my garbage disposal and never really could get a straight answer out of this young guy, so I sent him packing. And the problem?
There's a hook next to the other hook, from the other hook to hook up to other.
Okay.
And the hook's made up from the other pipe down here, from the other pipe going down there.
Well, why is that making it leak?
That's because from up there, it drips up there to the other one, and drips on here, and that black pipe turns it up to there and drips out.
Is it possible to fix it?
It's possible. It's really weak. There's danger.
There's danger?
Stay away from it. Stay away.
Okay. All right. Will you take care of it though?
Yeah.
Yeah, grandkids are fun. So I hope you enjoyed this video. And like I say, the intent is not to make you an expert. The intent is not to give you all the tools and knowledge you need to go out and start doing projects. This is just to get you introduced to it and make you feel a little more comfortable that if you have to call somebody out, you can kind of describe what you think is going on and what doesn't look right. So main thing is remember where your shutoff valve is. That's probably the biggest thing. If things really head south, you turn off that shutoff valve and call for some help. So if you like this, if this was a helpful video for you, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. I really appreciate it. If you got questions or comments, leave them in the leave a comment for me. I'll be happy to answer any questions. If you got any suggestions for other videos, I'm hoping to do a similar kind of video for the basic electrical system in a house and basic furnace and air conditioning systems in a house. So if you think those would be interesting, let me know. And otherwise, this is Opus signing off. So wherever you are, whenever you are, I hope you're having a great day. Thanks a lot.